Welcome back to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. We have a very popular man on today. He's become an internet LinkedIn sensation since he started using video. I thought he was Robert Half till he died, and he couldn't get on the video and show what he's all about, but he's proven me wrong.
Yeah, it's you got to be careful what you wish for, though, right? You start coming out your shell a little bit and start thinking, oh, I'm going to be a bit more creative and a bit more out there, and then after week 4, you've run out of ideas of what to say, and you spend all week thinking, well, what should I post out this week?
As Gary Vee says, don't create, document. And we're in the phase where, God, something else has happened every day. I mean, it's like I get an email from a client now, hey, I need to chat. I'm like, oh, you're not going to pay your bill, are you?
Yeah. You used to love getting a client call, right? And now you're scared.
Yeah, I know. So it's interesting times. Just for anybody that's listening, we're in the COVID-19 era. It's week 8. Week 8? Is it week 8? It feels like something like that. Rishi has just told us that we're going to get furloughed till October. Reading in between the lines, does that mean to you that offices aren't opening for the foreseeable?
Well, do you know, I'll talk about my personal situation. I'm lucky enough with our team in London. We're quite an experienced bunch of recruiters. The people that in our team that are of less experience, we have furloughed. So the people that are on the phones today trying to generate business are an experienced bunch. And so, you've got lots of, everyone's talking about remote working and how the recruitment industry is going to change, and we're all going to be more open to remote working. And I'm going to quiz you a little bit in a minute about your remote working strategies. But for me, when you're in a recruitment office, you're going to be old school about it. You want your team close together to drive the energy and to learn from each other, right? I mean, yes, you've got the command and control aspect of I want to know what my team are doing. But for me right now, with an experienced team of recruiters, we're quite comfortable working remotely at this moment in time. Don't get me wrong, we're all going a bit stir crazy and we're missing the social aspect of being a part of a team. But we can get the job done from home. But I got on the phone this morning talking to, so I'm assuming that, we're at home certainly till the end of July at the moment.
You think in August we're back in?
Yeah. Well, look, for me personally, once I want to welcome my furloughed workers back into the office. And so in my head, I'm thinking 1st of August, but I see your point. We might not be back in the 1st of August, but I was amazed this morning, speaking to some customers on the phone this morning, and they're going into the office to do their risk assessments and put the one-way systems in and start looking at what can be done. So there seems to be a desire right now for customers to get back into their offices and start scoping them out to do so. But I was naturally thinking that we're at home for, we've been, you say week 8. I'm thinking, we've got at least another 8 weeks of this.
Yeah, God. Twitter said today that from now on, all workers can work remotely forever. Said so when you start seeing the big boys in San Fran making decisions like that, it's going to change the way things are done. I think we could be in for a different time.
So there's two views, right? There's two views. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and if we look at our industry, recruiters will leave large branded recruitment businesses because they want more autonomy and they want the flexibility that maybe you didn't always get in that environment. Certainly those businesses are thinking through that and have been for some time, have been for the last couple of years. But this is now, I guess, the opportunity where people are now working from home, and if they get the job done, they're proving they can do it, right? They can. But I still come back to, when you're looking to scale a recruitment business, you're looking at what talent are you bringing in. And talent is finite, right? It's one of those things you just can't get enough of. Time and talent, right? They run out eventually. So recruitment businesses that scale have to take in potential, and they have to coach it and upskill it. and get it ready to do the job. And that's still going to be hard remote. That will still be hard remote. You know, that's where your sales floor, where you get that hum and you get that energy and you get the word tracks and you can direct your coaching tips. It's hard to do remotely. That's still going to be hard to do. So and the other thing is, companies have a really short memory. You know, companies have a short memory, and it was interesting coming into this situation. I think the post you were referring to when we were bantering a minute ago was about how does this situation differ to 2009, and you know, I think about 2010, 2011. I have seen a lot of recruitment businesses in the last 8 weeks ago. They moved into their lockdown strategies really quickly, far quicker than anything we did in 2008, 2009. But I still think people have short memories, and you know, businesses have still got, there's still so much inefficiency in businesses, you know, in 2019 that weren't there in 2010 because everyone got super efficient, right? So, you know, I think the world is open to flexible working and remote working. The technology is in place. The communication tools are in place. People are proving it can be done. But I think
there's two different things here. One was the big business stuff we're talking about, but you stepped into our industry as a topic. So let's unpack some of that. The remote working, we don't know how to lead remotely yet. So it's very hard to get the best out of teams when the managers have never had this challenge. The other part is you're dealing with a workforce that's never had a challenge. Like, it's all been plain sailing for recruiters for a long period of time. So all of a sudden there's shock. And then when you're talking about this work from home or this work remotely, it's not fair. Like, we don't have childcare. Like, we're switching in and out. We're managing to get somebody to come to the house tomorrow. Apparently you're allowed to now, which is great. And then nurseries should be open by June. But it's not a fair comparison to how you can work in a good market with a bit more freedom, a bit more structure, a bit more positivity, where you can go to your gym and do all the rest, all the stuff that takes care of it. But for us as an industry now, everything's got tight on money. So the last thing I think we'll be doing is bringing in the next batch of graduates next year. So the hire 3, 1 survives model that you came from, it's not applicable for next year. So that means either keeping the people you have or improving the people from outside to come in. And when you're an experienced hire business like yours, you have to ask yourself, do I want a 100k biller or 150 biller in a good market in London that I can coach, or do I want somebody who's 300, 250, whatever, they're in Plymouth? Can they work from home? Can you get them into your system now that everybody's getting used to this? And do they become part of your distributed workforce? But maybe they come in once a month just to be part of it when you're back in the office. So I think there's lots of those type of things that we have to consider in the new normal.
Yeah, and I think you point out, you know, there are businesses have different scaling methodologies, and none of them are wrong. I mean, none of them are wrong. You know, if you want to be a business that hires proven performers, gives them autonomy and freedom, and you can scale it that way, and you know, to what level are you going to scale it? Right, you can drive great profitability because you don't have that tail that you're paying for. But that's going to suit you, know, where you're trying to get your business to. If you're trying, I mean, in my experience, locations struggle to get through the 25 to 30 fee earner mark. That's when you need process, you need scalability, you need order, you need some consistency. So if you're not planning to do that, you don't need to be in the office, right?
But I think you don't need to be in the office, right? So I think you need these big business processes just as much for remote as you do the office. Like, I don't think there's, when I talk about remote, I don't mean like it's, let's be a lifestyle business and, you know, you can do what you want and we'll not track and measure it. Like, because working remotely, if you're running a scalable business remotely, which I don't have yet, hopefully one day, want to be looking at a dashboard and going, you're on track, you're on track, you're on track. I wonder how all your people are doing. Okay, they're not. Okay, here, could you have a word with that? Have you worked on these conversions? Right, okay, just have a look at that bit. Like, we want it all to be there from a data perspective, so it's not ambiguous, because when you're in an office, right, just clip somebody, no problem, like get on the phone, whatever it is, like, come on. When you're not, you can't be phoning people up and going, are you doing your work? Are you, it all has to be there and tracked. And I think businesses are really going to have to learn, almost go back to maybe more of the KPI that they used to, but make it more outcome based and make them like actually buy into it.
So I think I like metrics.
Of course you do. You're from Robert Half.
I like metrics, but I don't like driving high volumes. I like the efficiencies. I like the ratios. Yeah. I don't like counting calls. I don't like counting call volumes or time on the phone. That's just counting activity, long gone, right? Long gone. But what I do like is ratios and efficiency. And I like to see businesses grow. I like to see the gross margin number grow. Yeah. So we want to see the gross margin number grow, and we got to work backwards, right? So I like efficiencies.
What ratios do you go for?
I've not looked at ratios for 2.5 years. I haven't needed to.
Lovely.
I mean, the one metric that we celebrate in our office at FJR London is what we call send outs. I might have stolen that phrase from a company I might have used to work for. Basically, a candidate interviewing with your client, right? Face to face or on Zoom. And we drive, we celebrate send outs, and we'll look at the efficiency of converting send outs into placements. And that's pretty much it for the last 2 years. Yeah. But my worry is not about the metrics or the data-driven insights that we're talking about. If I go back to how I learned recruitment, I was in a hothouse environment with a great billing manager that beasted me all day long, and called SHIT when my call was bad. He coached me on it. When my call was great, he said, well done. But the real thing was just seeing the speed at which he worked, seeing the speed at which he'd say to me, hey, Neil, I need this type of candidate. I put one on his inbox and I'd say, hey, how's Johnny doing? He said, what are you talking about? He started yesterday. That speed he could work at. Now, that's what I don't know how we're going to get remotely. And I think back, there's one chap who I didn't manage him directly. I won't mention his name, but he worked for that company I might have mentioned before. Based in New York, he was a billing manager of a perm team. He was running about 25 sales professionals in his team with a couple of division managers in between. He never ran a one-to-one. He never looked at any data or metrics. He managed purely by the interaction he had when co-broking a deal. And by co-broking, I mean my client, your candidate, you're clearing the candidate, I'm clearing the client, we're facing off together. And if you haven't, I'm asking you questions about your candidate, and if you don't know the answers, go back and get them, right? And he coached fantastic candidate control through the interaction he had when co-broking a deal. Likewise, if he had a candidate in your job and you didn't have the questions on that job, he would coach you on how to take a job order by just saying, look, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, and you can't have my candidate until you've got all that information. And that intensity of questioning is what has driven fantastic recruiters, in my experience. And that's the biggest challenge I see from remote working. Everything else, is we can get through that.
How do we get over that?
I don't know. If I had the solution to that, we'd have been doing this years ago. I mean, what's the saying, right? Necessity creates
the mother of
or something, and it's something like that. I mean, I guess we're going to find out. I mean, I like you mentioned to me what ratios do we drive, and what as I'm in a far more hands-on role today than I have been for many, many years. But what I have enjoyed is being able to actually influence outcomes of recruitment situations by just firing questions at the people around you and upskilling their ability to do so. And we've got a small team. It's a bit smaller today than it was on the 1st of March. But we've got, we create an environment where it's safe to fail. We're asking lots of questions. It's okay not to have the answer, but don't do that again. Go back and get the answer.
Yeah.
just and I like that environment. I think that's how we upskill. So yeah, I guess we're going to be, as we get back into the new normal, and we all want to start growing our businesses again if we do, and the market dictates that we can, or profitability dictates that we can. I guess we'll start to figure out what the answer is to that question.
What have you learned since you've gone remote? Like in terms of like, walk me through what that was like from oh crap, everybody's remote now. Did you like?
Yeah, do you know? Look, it didn't fade. I remember 2008, 2009, and I was really scared. But I guess I was a lot less experienced, and I was scared. This hasn't scared me. I've quite enjoyed it. I mean, on a tactical level, what have you learned? Right? From a tactical level, little thing. I can work with Teams and Zoom far better than I ever used to. I mean, we've had Teams for a while, but little things like there are little tips and tricks from technology tools. There's some little things on LinkedIn Recruiter and some schedule things, diary schedulers that you start to implement. And so, I've picked from a tactical level, picked up lots of sort of technology tools that we've all got a lot better at. But talking you through how did it, we went into this so quickly. 1 week we're reading about it in the press. The next week, okay, guys, we're all going to work from home tomorrow. And the first few days were just very, very, very busy in getting in your short and medium term strategies around, cash, managing and preserving cash, controlling costs, making sure everyone can work from home. They've got the tools, they've got the workspace. So that was the first, I think we started working from home on a Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was all about that. At the same time, you're managing your sales pipeline, and that COVID kind of worked to our advantage a little bit because all of a sudden I think clients that could make hires at that moment in time but weren't scared about the economic situation pushed them through a little bit quicker. Because so that kept some deals coming through. I guess the next thing then is you're managing your sales pipeline, because that took a bit of a hit, right? And I think as we went into the first week of April, I think we were looking at about 25% of sales pipeline to where we usually are. We've done. I guess we're converting more. We're converting okay. We just don't have an awful lot of it, right? So that was most of April, and I think May sort of now feels like, okay, peeps, this is how it is. This is the business as unusual, whatever it's being called. So we just got to get our head around it. And you read lots, you talk to people, and everyone, you've still got people saying, yeah, we're seeing the upshoots. Yeah, we've got a better week. We've got more jobs this week. It's like, maybe, maybe not. But I think
I have more jobs this week. But I need people who can improve who I have on the bench. Like that's the horribleness of it. And if you come across a strategic hire that can get me into an area that might be good in the next while,
healthcare, life sciences, I think. I mean, look, I have started to see some of the hires that got put on hold in the last week of March. We have seen one or two of those start to, okay, we're okay to start hiring. And I think people are now assuming, well, no, not assuming, I guess you can, right? If you are a customer and you weren't open to the idea of making a hire without actually meeting that person, which now, by the way, doesn't that seem archaic? All of a sudden, that seems archaic. So 2 months have passed. Yeah. But 2 months ago, I've got guys on the Neil, this client is never going to make a hire without meeting them face to face.
Yeah.
Now clients are saying, okay, we'll start the recruitment process because we could always meet them in the office, social distancing, 2 meters apart. We can have a final face-to-face meeting. So they're being turned back on. But that just seems archaic. I mean, in 2 months, that does seem so antiquated and old-fashioned.
Yeah, you have to
which is amazing.
Yeah,
which is amazing. I like Teams. I like Zoom. I think you get a far better, less distracted conversation.
Yeah, despite my kids smashing stuff downstairs. Tell you what.
You're feeling it. I can hear you. You're feeling it.
Next week, I'm hoping for a bit more childcare. It's tricky, My team were hired for fairer weather than this, and it's testing my resolve to kind of manage them in the right way, because I hadn't coached salespeople, they were facilitators, and now we're in a market where it's like, this is a lot harder. Not from the client perspective, more just the candidates, the best recruiters out there are quite hesitant right now. I'm hearing this from a lot of Rectorex.
Best recruiters hesitant to move.
Yeah,
I get that. But I guess the next things the next thing they then start thinking about, right, is if we came out of 2010 or 2010, come out of 2009. There were a lot of startups in that period, right? And what I don't have the answer to, and I guess what I'm thinking now is, what's the makeup of the UK recruitment market going to look like post this? Because some people will now be working from home thinking, I really like this and I can get used to this, and I can do this myself. I just need to so you're going to get, are you going to get the bedroom recruiters starting up again? But likewise, there are going to be lots of people that are working from home in these environments thinking, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not me. I miss the social interaction. And I want to get back into the office. And then clearly there's going to be, we don't know the extent yet. I'm assuming we don't know the extent yet. There must be a decent number of recruitment businesses that have got a decent number of staff furloughed that have not gone into, that haven't shut the doors yet, because they don't need to right now. But come July, August, September, when we start to unravel this, they're going to have to shut the doors. And we don't know whether that's the case or not, because I think the barriers to entry into recruitment are very low. But I think you could probably shut the doors pretty quickly and move on to another project quite quickly too. And I don't quite know how the recruitment situation in the UK is going to look come Q4 this year from a competitive.
What happens? I've got a crystal ball right here. I would say there's a couple of different things that you've said there. Number one, the independent recruiters. It's tough at the best of times doing it yourself with no support from home, making that happen and all the rest. It takes a certain person to be able to do it. It's quite prevalent in the US, and there's a lot of it. There might be a bit of that, but you need 6 months cash to really do it and get a run at it. And I don't know many people that are going to have that reserve to go and do it.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of cash about at the moment, is there?
No, let me tell you. So I think it's probably not the time that an independent recruiter will happen. Now, there's two major trends. One is remote working and the other is freelancing. So people will want a degree of independence. People will want more access to maybe living in Devon or Cornwall, but they want to earn London money. So yeah, probably agencies will start to hire remotely. One of my clients, Mark Zanowski, has been on the podcast a few times. I placed a guy with him in Chicago, and the guy didn't get the visa. Mark decided to give him a shot anyway, because he said, "Listen, I owe it to him. He's already resigned, so I really think this guy's got potential." So anyway, the guy's working remotely, billing big numbers, but he came from a good scalable agency, had about 3 years behind him in the right sector, and now Mark said, "Okay, all right, so it does work. Okay, yeah. I still want people in an office, but if I can't get them, I'm not going to wait 2 years until we can get going. So if there's talent out there, we'll put them in." So I think if you've got the right scalable processes like he does, then it works. If you're a lifestyle business and you're hiring other lifestyle people, it's a disaster. Because otherwise they should be doing it for themselves. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where it all lands. Who'll make it out of it? It's my initial thing was the medium-sized firms that were going through massive scale. I thought, they're the ones that are going to collapse, because the listed ones where you come from, and that originally, like your Walters, your Page, your Half, they're all right. Like, they'll just bin a load of people and they'll be okay. The next tier down, people are stuck with big offices in Manhattan that maybe had an event and aren't listed yet and are going for another event. That's pretty scary stuff. So how are they going to pivot is still really interesting. one of the things you said there was about the people on the bench, the people on the furlough. One of the things that Ireland did, they've brought them back part of the time, so that gives them the runway to kind of build up their own desk. So the government's covered some of it, and we need to be able to do that here.
Yeah, well, I think the way I've interpreted Rishi's comments yesterday is that that's what we're probably looking at in August, September, October.
Why wait till then?
We cover some, we'll cover some of the costs, but likewise whether we get people back full time or whether we're allowed them back part time. But I think that's a smart move. Personally, I think that's a great move for us. So we'll be able to sort of phase people back in and sort of ramp them back up. So I think that's a great move. I mean, I can see why you can't do it I know Ireland did that, but I guess it opens that's changed to manipulation and fraud, right? Because all of a sudden you just put all your staff on furlough and get them all back to work and just let the government pay for all your staff or a percentage of all your staff. So I think that phase return is a good move, but clearly it's super expensive for UK PLC, and we'll be paying this in taxes for God knows how long. But
we have to get through it. Like it's.
That's a good move to get people in. And I think the other thing that coming out of that we've seen in the last 5-6 years, it used to be when you look at what's your strategy or what's your proposition. It's always been what's your function, what professional function do you recruit for, what industry do you specialize in, what geography and or what sort of salary level, right? And then is it temp or perm? Where now there's so many different routes to delivery, whether that RPOs have been around for a long time, but you've got the bespoke sort of embedded solutions, you've got the hybrid solutions, you've got the retained solutions, you've got the semi-retained, you've got the sort of retained but contingent, and you've got specialist businesses doing a great job in a certain delivery methodology with a certain payment structure. And I guess the thing that I'm sort of really getting my creative juices around is where do we want to position our business to really maximize, how do we productize a certain route to market and really maximize the value and how we get customers to pay us for that? Because already in the few vacancies that we have picked up this week, clients are naturally thinking, Neil, we may have agreed that fee for pre-COVID, but we're not paying that fee post-COVID.
Wow.
And the good news here is, well, it's not good news at all, but the competitive structure right now, there are significantly less recruiters actively recruiting today than there were in March. Albeit it's only the good ones, right? It's only the good recruiters. Well, good recruiters are mainly, not to say good recruiters are on the bad recruiters on the bench. There's just a lot less recruiters recruiting today. So already you can see customers thinking, and there's no race to the bottom as far as I'm concerned. Margins in recruitment have been hammered for the last 10 years. And we can't go any lower, right? As an industry, we have to stand. We have to know our value here.
Yeah, we can be creative in how it's paid, just not how much is paid.
Yeah, and there's some really creative. Already I've seen businesses that I'm going to steal ideas off. I've got some really creative ways to engage with clients and drive a level of exclusivity with a level of contingency that clients really like, because clients do like choice, right? Clients like choice. So I think if you can find different payment structures and payment points and give the customer a choice, you can find some. There's some great ideas and things that we'll be looking to implement coming out of this.
Yeah, the micro RPO stuff works, or the embedded stuff that you're talking about works because you get a stranglehold on the business and their spend, and that obviously makes sense. But to win that, it's very tricky, and you need certain case studies on, and it's hard, but. It makes sense as an investment if you can get it. It's just how to do that and how much do you invest in that when you're trying to build out your normal functions. That's the tricky piece.
Well, I think it's always the first one, isn't it? You land the first one, you get the roadmap, you get the testimonial, proof of concept, and you scale it from there. So, but there's been some fantastic innovative businesses over there. In an industry that's very hard to be different. Everyone's doing the same thing, kind of, right? Albeit everyone thinks that they're unique, and everyone says, we're doing stuff no one else is doing. Really?
Yeah, really. All right, we have just put the world to rights.
Thank you, my man. been very cathartic. This I've enjoyed it.
That's good. Hey, we've put the world to rights. We've debated it all, and let's see who's right on the other side. Any predictions? Last predictions on the other side. Let's leave it at that.
Who's going to still be there? We'll all be there on the other side. We're all going to be there. We'll be fine.
Are we all going to be in an office? And in what month?
Q4. I think. But that being said, no, I'd probably say, I think 70% of our industry will be back in an office in Q4.
So September.
Yeah, October.
Okay.
But the great news on this is we can't measure that, so we'll never know whether I was right or wrong anyway.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much. Next time.
Man. Good to talk to you. Cheers, Dualta.